Good morning. Today's topic is DNA replication. As we know, all living organisms reproduce to perpetuate their own kind. So, reproduction must involve faithful replication of their genetic material and transmission of this genetic material from the parents to offspring. Two scientists, that is James Watson and Francis Crick, suggested a model for DNA duplication that's based on complementary base pairing. As we all know, complementary base pairing means DNA two strands, they have these pairs. This base pairing is very specific, that is between adenine and thymine, guanine, cytosine. Principle of DNA replication is based on complementary base pairing, and this is proposed by Watson and Crick. These are parental strands, and these parental strands, they act as template for synthesis of new strand. And between new strand and parental strand you can see the base pairing, and base pairing is always based on complementary base pairing. This means that the parent strand would serve as a template by observing complementary base pairing. Thus, the parental duplex is replicated to form two daughter duplexes, and each of the daughter duplex consists of one parental strand and one newly synthesized daughter strand. This mode of DNA replication is called semi-conservative mode of replication. Michelson and Stahl, they have confirmed the semi-conservative mode of replication. They used bacteria which are grown in media of isotope of heavy isotope of nitrogen. Normal nitrogen is having 14 and heavy nitrogen will be N15. The heavy isotope of nitrogen and the bacteria grown in this heavy isotope of nitrogen for confirming DNA semi-conservative mode of replication. Here, let us take this as the DNA grown in N15 medium. When we do a special type of density centrifugation, this DNA will form a position, and let us take this as N15 position, or this is the position for N15 DNA. Now, the bacteria which are grown in N15 medium will have heavy DNA inside them. Michelson and Stahl, they have transferred the N15 grown bacteria to an N14 medium. N14 means normal medium, and they have checked DNA of the first generation. This is first generation, and after duplication of the DNA and after the replication of bacteria, cells are isolated. The first generation cells will have some DNA. That DNA is centrifugated to find the position. Surprisingly, it is found that the position is not matching with N15. It is little bit above N15. Again, after one more generation, the DNA were further isolated and again done density gradient centrifugation. It is found that there are two DNA bands. One is the first generation band and a new one formed which is above that. Again it is continued and they got the same two band which is same as that of F2. From this experiment they have concluded DNA is semi-conservative. How, we will see. This type of pattern can only be happen DNA is semi-conservatively duplicating. See, this is N15, the first generation, that means the initial DNA is N15. When we grow them, one of the parental strand will be conserved and a new strand will be formed by taking N14. So the DNA which is formed will have a hybrid DNA which is N15 and N14. This hybrid will have little bit lighter weight compared to N15. N15, if this is the position, then N14-15 hybrid will have little bit less weight, which will be found above the N15 band. So this is N14 N15 hybrid. Again the DNA get replicated. They will use N14 from the medium. So again you can see this strand goes here and one of the strand get and a new strand is formed here. Again this strand goes here, a new strand is formed. This will be N14, this will be N14. Here N14, that is N15 and new will be N14. Again for the second DNA, one strand gets inserted, that is N14 from the parent and new will be formed N14. Here this will go to the next generation where this will be N15 and N14. So you can find that there are two N14 DNAs and two hybrid DNAs. So they got two bands and one band is at the position of N14 N15 hybrid and another is N14, which will be again lighter, and this pattern would continue in the following generations. So through this they proved that the DNA conservation is semi-conservative. This picture explains further detail. Initially the DNA is grown 15 labeled medium, then taken a sample and checked the density. Then they added N15 cells to N14 medium and grow for 4 generations. In the first generation they have got a band which is not in position of N15. You can see little bit higher. And further generation they have found that N14, which is lighter DNA, is increasing, and this N14 N15 hybrid which was formed will also be there. So here you see N15 N15, this is N14 N15 hybrid, then N14 this one, and you can see one of the strand is getting, parent strand is getting conserved and the other is newly formed fragment. Here also one of the strand is getting conserved, another newly formed, one here and another is newly formed. Like this it is getting conserved. Okay, so this is the experimental proof for semi-conservative mode of replication. Now the molecular mechanism of DNA replication. Replication usually starts at a specific site. For example, it starts here in the specific site, and that site is known as origin of replication. The bacterial chromosome consists of a single origin of replication, whereas in the eukaryotic chromosomes they have multiple origin of replication. If you take a eukaryotic chromosome, they will have different origin of replication. The point at which replication occurs is termed as replication fork. You can see this is just like a fork. So sometimes it is also termed as replication fork. It is sometimes also known as growing point. Once replication has been initiated, once it is started, two replication forks are formed and they will move away from the origin in opposite direction. This moves in this way and other moves in the other way. So this mode of replication is also known as bidirectional replication. So DNA replication is semi-conservative DNA replication is also known as replication fork. It is also known as growing point. It is also known as bidirectional replication. All these replication processes which are fully controlled by enzymes. So this is done with the help of enzymes. Now we'll see what are the enzymes which are involved in the replication machinery. The key players involved in the replication of DNA in both prokaryote and eukaryotes are, the first one is topoisomerase. Here you can see topoisomerase is required for the initiation of unwinding of DNA. Actually the DNA which is in supercoiled form that need to be uncoiled. This unwinding is done with the help of enzyme topoisomerase. The DNA topoisomerase relieves the tension by nicking and unwinding. Nicking and unwinding means they will form single strand cuts on the DNA and they will just uncoil the DNA. The next class of enzyme is helicase. You can see helicase here. These enzymes accomplish the unwinding of original double helix. Once supercoiling has been removed by topoisomerase, topoisomerase will remove all the supercoilings and helicase will unwind the double strand DNA into single strands. You can see here they get separated into single strands. Helicase disrupt the hydrogen bonding. The hydrogen bonding between base pairs are broken by helicases and DNA get denatured or DNA gets separated. This requires energy and this is done with the help of ATP. The third type of enzyme is single strand binding proteins. They bind on the separated DNA and will help the DNA to stay in that particular state. Otherwise, what will happen when you denature the DNA into single strand, they will again form hydrogen bonds and they will form the helical structure again. This need to be avoided. So these are hydrogen bonds which are broken by helicase, and that broken hydrogen bonds and the DNA to be separated. Separated DNA should not recoil again, and this is prevented by single strand binding proteins. They will bind on the DNA and they will not allow the DNA to recoil. We will see an enzyme that is primase. DNA polymerase, they do not have the capacity to start a replication, a new strand from a space. DNA polymerase always need a 3' OH end to which they can add next nucleotide, that is 5' PO4. 5 PO4 is to be added. You know, when two nucleotides have to bind, they requires to form phosphodiester bond. So this phosphodiester bond is formed between 3'OH and 5' PO4. So DNA polymerase enzyme, the enzyme which is involved in the process of polymerization, cannot do it in the space. They can only add a nucleotide to a 3'OH end. So there is an enzyme which is primase. The requirement of free 3'-hydroxyl group is fulfilled by short fragment of RNA that are synthesized at the initiation by an enzyme primase. The next important enzyme is DNA polymerase. These are the most important enzyme for replication, as these are responsible for synthesis of new DNA strands. Although multiple DNA polymerases are present in both prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells, only some of them, that means DNA polymerase 3 in prokaryote and DNA polymerase D in eukaryote are directly involved in the replication of nuclear DNA. Nuclear DNA in the sense the DNA found inside nucleus. Other DNA polymerase like 1 and 2 in prokaryote, A, B, G and E in eukaryote. They are having some subsidiary roles like repairing the DNA, repairing the damaged DNA, okay, and in the replication of mitochondrial, plastid, all these cell organelles also have DNA. Their replication is controlled by these enzymes, and especially in the repairing of DNA. From this it is identified that DNA polymerase 3 and DNA polymerase D in prokaryote as well as eukaryote, they involved in the replication of nuclear DNA. DNA polymerases can synthesize DNA only in 5' to 3' direction. This means that they can extend the DNA chain by catalyzing the formation of a phosphodiester bond between 3' hydroxyl end of a growing chain and a 5' phosphate of a incoming nucleotide. They will have a 3' OH end, the other end will be 5' PO4. DNA polymerase can add only a incoming nucleotide, its PO4 side to OH side, and forms a phosphodiester bond. This is already discussed. That means they cannot start from the space. If you add a new nucleotide here, the choice of that nucleotide is based on the template strand. तो template strand में जो DNA है उसके opposite वाले nucleotide will be always added to that. And what we discuss here, the formation of phosphodiester bond between these two nucleotides is actually catalyzed by DNA polymerase. But polymerase always requires a 3' OH end. This is provided by RNA primer. In addition to possessing 5' to 3' polymerizing activity, many prokaryotic and eukaryotic DNA polymerase exhibit 3' to 5' exonuclease activity. The activity catalyzes the removal of nucleotides one by one from the 3' end is known as exonuclease activity. While making the chains, suppose an error has happened, that error can be removed by removing this nucleotide and adding the another nucleotide. Sometimes it is also known as proofreading. So here you can see the DNA polymerases, they are actually growing the chains, and as we discussed, the DNA formation will be bidirectional. You can see one from this direction and the other goes to this direction. Okay, so bidirectional DNA replication. When you look here, you can see that one strand is growing continuously and the other strand is forming in fragments. And that too, you see DNA synthesis always happen from 5' to 3'. Here also you can see this is 5' and this is 3'. The two chains composing one DNA double helix are anti-parallel. Thus, if one chain is aligned in 5' to 3', its partner must be aligned to 3', 5' direction. Here you can see the parental, that is 5' to 3'. So the other strand will be 5' to 3' to 5', anti-parallel. This suggests that during DNA replication, one of the newly synthesized strand is polymerized in the 5' to 3' direction, while other strand is polymerized in the 3' to 5' direction. However, all DNA polymerases can synthesize only from 5' to 3'. So how does this synthesis of 3' to 5' takes place? Now, how this particular DNA synthesis takes place. The strand which is growing in 3' to 5' direction means this strand is called lagging strand. This is synthesized discontinuously. You can see here break. Yes, the other fragment is forming continuously. If replication fork goes further, this will be continued further. These fragments are known as Okazaki fragments. These fragments are about 1000 to 2000 nucleotide long, generally 200 nucleotide long. This is in the case of prokaryotes. Here it is in the case of eukaryotes. There will be a RNA primer and this will be extended continuously. But on the other hand, we can see here a small DNA RNA primer and this will be extended. Again, when replication fork extends, a new primer will be synthesized here. That will be extended till here. Again, little bit strands are exposed, so there will be again formation of a new primer which will be extended. So likewise you will get Okazaki fragment. So the replication is little bit lagging, whereas in the other strand it is leading. So since during the DNA replication one strand is synthesized continuously and the other strand is synthesized discontinuously, so replication is also known as semi-discontinuous replication. Here you can see the one strand which is growing continuously, but for the other strand you can see some fragments are formed. Here a fragment, this one are previous, again a new is getting added. Now DNA polymerase 1 will remove these primers and this primer will be replaced by DNA. As we have already discussed, DNA polymerase 1 and 2 in prokaryotes, DNA polymerase A, B, G, E in eukaryotes. They will perform these activities. They will remove the RNA polymerase, they will remove RNA primer and add DNA to that. And the last enzyme in this DNA replication is DNA ligase. This enzyme will actually seal these Okazaki fragments. Suppose here previously you can see the gap here. This gap will need to be actually filled. These two DNA fragments need to be jointed. That joining is done by DNA ligase enzyme. So this is how the DNA replication takes place in different organisms. Okay, so we'll have a short recap. Actually, the mechanism of DNA replication by Watson and Crick, they said that the principle is complementary base pairing, and they also said that it is semi-conservative method of DNA replication. That means one of the parent strand is getting conserved and new strand is formed. Michelson and Stahl, they have confirmed the semi-conservative mechanism of DNA replication by doing an experiment using some bacteria grown in heavy isotope of nitrogen. When they transfer N15 to an N14 medium, a hybrid N15 N14 bacterial DNA is formed, and this is a evidence that the DNA is replicating semi-conservatively. Now the entire process is controlled by enzymes. First enzyme is DNA topoisomerase, and next is helicase, which is denaturing DNA, single stranded binding proteins. They prevent renaturing. Then RNA primase is an enzyme forming RNA primer, which will give a free 3-hydroxyl end for DNA nucleotide to be added by DNA polymerase. The most important enzyme is DNA polymerase. The DNA polymerase are of different types, 1, 2 and 3 in prokaryote, A, B, D, G, E in eukaryotes. And they can synthesize DNA from 5' to 3'. So when you look at the formation of newly formed DNA, to one end it is growing continuously, that is leading strand. To the other end it is growing in fragments, that is lagging strand. So these fragments are known as Ogasaki fragments, which are later joined by the enzyme DNA ligase. Okay, thank you.